G'day, bikers. Well, hasn't there been a kerfuffle in the last 48 hours about our last update? So, to get those of you up to speed who aren't aware, on Thursday we released an update on details from the annual general meeting of AusHog, which is the Melbourne chapter of Hog, and more importantly, the attendance of the new owner of Harley Heaven, James Toner, under the Joe Rascal Group at that meeting. Well, looks like that ruffled some feathers for various reasons. So at the end of the day, we've got to admit we got one piece of information wrong and we want to set the record straight. Let me explain. The long story short is, after some interesting comments and conversations in the comments section of that video, Friday night I removed it because there was one bit of information in there that was incorrect, and we don't want to be putting out false information. We were incorrectly informed, and we'll go into how that happened. Post that, yesterday morning, I had a very productive conversation with James Toner himself. And as a result of that conversation, I want to give you a full update in relation to this 4 stores that have been purchased by the Joe Rascal Group. So with this instalment, we're going to set the record straight. I want to go over the last video and find out exactly where we fucked up. So here goes. So it started off with one of the new owners, Mr. James Toner, personally addressed the Melbourne chapter of AusHog last night. Okay? Well, that was obviously correct. Now, apparently that meeting was not supposed to get out to the general public. Why not? Who knows? But apparently AusHog correspondence to members is super secret. Well, unfortunately for them, half the members passed their information on to their fellow bikers. Speaking directly to the Harley riders and long-time Harley Heaven customers from Hog, Mr. Toner laid out his vision for the business. Okay, that was correct too. All right. In that discussion I had with him Saturday morning, he spoke a lot about his vision of the future of the stores. 2 of the main things he discussed was making customer service a priority and making sure the stores were casual and welcome destinations for bikers. Well, if he just does those 2 things alone, that's a massive bonus. Went on to say, but among the promises of new beginnings came some deeply troubling news. And I'll read what we actually said in that update. It said, during this address, Mr. Toner confirmed that the Joe Rascal Group will not be honouring any outstanding customer deposits or gift cards made prior to the sale of the Harley Heaven business. That means anyone who placed a deposit on motorcycles, parts or accessories are unlikely to see their money or product they paid for. Now, this is where we got it wrong. This is the bit of information that was incorrect. So basically what happened was, we don't have a team of fact checkers, okay? So we took the information we got from numerous sources that were at the meeting on their face value. The sources were at that meeting, and as I said, we took it on face value. Lesson learned, I guess. So here's what we got wrong, and this is in regards to the 4 shops, the 3 Harley Heavens and the Ducati shop that the Joe Rascal Group has taken over, okay? So if you have gift certificates that were issued by Harley Heaven prior to the sale, they will not be honoured. Now, people might ask why that is. Well, it's simple. It's an awful lot of money, and a lot of them were bought online, or a lot of them were bought at different shops. So they won't be honouring the gift certificates, as probably neither will any of the other stores. So we got that right. If you had any deposits down on parts or accessories like seats, exhaust, handlebars, whatever, that deposit is still up in the air. When I mentioned it to him, he wasn't aware of the value of and how many people had put deposits on actual accessories, but he has promised to look into that and will get back to us on it. So that wasn't wrong at this stage. Maybe that will change. Now, motorcycles, if you put a deposit on a motorcycle, this is where we screwed up, okay? So if you had a deposit on a motorcycle, you will not get a full refund, okay? So you can't walk in and say, I put a $500 deposit down on a bike, give me $500 back. Because that debt was paid to Harley Heaven, and basically has already been spent by the administrators. However, as a sign of good faith, James told me that this is what's going to happen. If you go ahead with that purchase of that motorbike, he will reduce the price of that motorbike by the deposit you paid. So basically, you will not be out of pocket any more money than you were already signed up to pay. So in our opinion, that's huge. Okay, for those buyers, that is the best news possible that you could ever expect. It goes to show that he's serious about building good customer relations, I'd suggest, because on paper that could cost him up to $500,000 from what he tells me. Let's face it, he could easily walk away from those sales as the debt isn't his. So we think that's a huge bonus, and that's what we got wrong. And for that, we apologise. Okay, the fact that we got it wrong sucks. And if we had had that information, our report would have been totally different. As I said, the rest of the story was basically correct. The gift money's gone. The product, apart from bikes, those deposits are still not being returned. But at least for his 4 stores, he's going to look into it. So that's very promising from the Joe Rascal Group. Okay, so let's just say from us at Hogs Cogs, for getting a bit about the bike deposits incorrect, we happily offer our apologies to both James and the team at Joe Rascal. And more importantly, we offer our apologies to the members or the people that had purchased bikes, because they might have seen that information and it could have disturbed them. So we apologise for that. There was no malice or intent to mislead anyone, and quite frankly, the debt belonged to Harley Heaven, not Joe Rascal. So no one should hold the Joe Rascal Group responsible for any of the issues. And quite frankly, the plan they've come up with to set it right, at least within their stores, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely fantastic. To our viewers, sorry, we got it wrong. We're not perfect, and we never said we were. Okay, occasionally we will get things wrong, but the one thing with us is we will do our best to make it right if we find out we've given you something that's not correct. So we hope that's good enough for you. The post went on to say that it was a devastating blow for many loyal customers, some of whom have been waiting for news for their purchases for over a month now. Well, as we said in the thumbnail for the last video, the estimated total out of pocket is about $4.5 million. And that is basically the gift vouchers alone. Now, some of that will have been traded with people, spending the same amount at the stores as their gift voucher, which is what Harley Heaven have been allowing them to do. But a lot of that money is just going to basically be lost, unfortunately. Now, the other thing, as I said earlier, in follow-up correspondence sent to the Harley Owners Group after the meeting, the committee were a little bit hurt because that information got out. But we simply were reporting and showing proof that Harley Heaven was being rebranded as Joe Rascal Harley Davidson. Okay, that is happening. That's been confirmed by James. It's important to note it was already in the public domain anyway, because it was on some of his personal social media. So it's not like it was a CIA bloody secret or anything. So, and then it finished off with, so Victoria, at least, Harley Heaven will be no more. We did get that right, because it seems now that possibly from the 25th of July, Harley Heaven will be no more. It will now be Joe Rascal Harley Davidson. So in the end of it, will the brand under Joe Rascal Group bring any fresh energy or direction to the shops? Well, only time will tell, but from the conversation I had with him, it's very promising. In fact, we've got some pretty big news. James Toner himself has offered to come on the show in a couple of weeks. Obviously, he's very busy this next week, but we've organised. We're gonna have a interview with him. So if you've got any questions for him, feel free to put them in the comments, or send us a message or an email to hogscogs and 2 AussieFlogs@gmail.com. Okay, so if you have any questions, let us know. We'll put them to him on the show. And that's bound to be a must-watch episode in a couple of weeks, as is the one coming up next, which will be our interview with the Assistant Commissioner of Traffic here in Victoria. All right? So if you want to hear from him direct, from the man himself, shoot us those messages. Anyway, subscribe now so you don't miss any of these shows. Just press the subscribe button down below. And simply put, we hope this clears a few things up. And we look forward to having a good relationship with the Joe Rascal Group from this point on. In fact, I can safely say that the sky is the limit. So for more about this story and every other stories, we'll continue to do our very best to get the good information out to you as quick as we can. Our podcast and our updates are totally free. As I said, click on the subscribe button and we'll follow our Facebook group. All right. Until next time, ciao.